Well, all right. We have got to talk about the type of accommodations that nightclubs used to provide for rock bands back in the 80s. You know, it was something that they didn't want to invest a lot of money in, and for the type of people that we were, it was probably a wise decision on their choice. One of the best places was in Huntington, West Virginia, at a club called Rockers. Next door to Rockers was the Rockers Bandhouse. Now, you played Rockers, you played there for 3, 4 nights at least, so that was the place where you stayed, at the Rockers Bandhouse. The owner of Rockers was a guy named Big Dan, and I really don't think Big Dan owned or rented the Rockers Bandhouse. I think he just went over there, pulled down the condemned sign, ran an extension cable over there for some AC, and that was about the extent of it. I stayed there too many times over the years when I was with War Child, and then years later when I was with my own band, Malachi. But I certainly have some horrendous memories of the Rockers Band House. But one of my favorite ones was when we first got Mr. Helly. Mr. Helly came on to replace me as the sound mixer for War Child. I was just on my way out and going to be a bass player for a touring metal band that I met called Malachi. So Mr. Helly came in for that Friday night, saw the show at the club next door, came over, and we had, as usual, a horrendous party going on. And it was Mr. Helly's real introduction to what was ahead for him, not just as the mixer of the band, but what the living accommodations would occasionally be like. What do you remember from the Rockers Bandhouse?
Rockers Bandhouse. I remember that was the first week that I was with War Child trying to secure a position as the next sound man.
Yeah,
And
all true.
it was a very disgusting place. It was very unsanitary.
Yep,
And all this, right?
all true.
And my one memory of that place was when we were leaving, I opened up my luggage and there was a bloody tampon in there. That was my initiation. Was we thought it would be cool to whoop and put the tampon in my luggage. So I was very dejected. I didn't think that was very nice. I didn't think these people were very nice. And
Well,
they were.
It was a mixed bag. I witnessed that tampon going in your luggage.
Were you in on it?
No, I didn't have time. Butch had walked in, and there was this chick sitting in the kitchen on this little plastic chair, little plastic flowers on it, and she had her legs open. She's smoking a cigarette, and you could see the string just sticking to the side of her thigh, and Butch walks in and goes up to her. He goes, "Hey, my name's Butch, and I'm gonna fuck you." She says, "No, you're not. I'm on my period." And he reached down like a kung fu master, and he grabbed that string and whipped that tampon out of her and threw it behind him in one quick move, and it landed right in your luggage. I remember telling you earlier in the day, don't leave that open. Don't leave that open. That thing skidded across your shirt, stuck to the lid. It was
we were there. Larry had taken some Quaaludes or something, the Spotlight guy, and he fell off the milk crate. And he was, I guess, known to do that on a regular basis. And they brought him upstairs and duct taped him up. And I remember that dude waking up super pissed that he was all bound.
Yeah, I taped him up all over the country. I taped him up. I've entombed him once to a bed in Kansas City. And the funny part about covering him in tape was when he'd wake up. And one time in Louisville, we taped him up, and he went to stand up, and he immediately went head first into the TV, knocked himself back out.
Right after getting up?
Yeah.
Straight back out.
What the fuck? Like going over like a porpoise out of the water. No way to hold yourself up. What a train wreck. with the Rockers Bandhouse. I mean, I don't. You probably stayed there. Had to have. That's where we
Yeah.
stayed.
Yeah.
That's where we stayed. And I remember the downstairs was so revolting that you would you wouldn't even look left or right, man. You would just go towards the light where the stairs were. You didn't want to look. You didn't want to look, man. And I remember Uncle Bob leaving with these two chicks. He thinks he's gonna go have a hot sex time with them, and I can't. And the chick is cussing with Beasley, and they're having some kind of fight or whatever. And Beasley's looking over the railing at him and he goes, just threw up all over her, covered Beasley's draft beer and beef jerky diet. Oh man, so funny. And they went out there and they're covered in puke, and they go outside. And someone had broken out the chick's windshield on her car, and they were going to Portsmouth, Ohio, which is like 50 miles away. It's 15 degrees outside. You know, the three of them and that sitting in that car with that windshield busted out, going down the highway. Beasley's Taco Bell diet froze all over that girl's face. Come on, man. What a good time.
Christopher Beasley, he just, oh man, his parents were so disappointed. They were such nice people, wealthy, raising, Arabian horses. Dad owns a stone cutting operation. And here's Chris Beasley, wakes up every day and reaches on the little pot tray next to his bed, like a little TV dinner tray. Full of pot, laying in bed smoking pot in his room.
The only guy I ever knew that would take drugs without asking what they were. he loved a surprise, man.
You like those Valiums. So after those Valiums.
You liked going down, yeah.
I remember doing those Valiums for like a week straight at one point. And when I stopped taking them, I didn't remember anything that had happened for a week. And I said, man, I will never, ever take these fucking things again. I remember we were in a nightclub somewhere on an off night, and you guys left me in the corner sitting on a stool and said, just stay right here. We'll be back in a little bit. You guys left me there for a couple hours. I was still sitting right there, man, just staying with it, wondering where everybody went. You guys were gone a long time, man. I just sat there for a while. Yeah, those Valiums are no good. Make you act like Beasley.
Yeah, he was running at a different speed, we
low gear. That's what he's riding in first, man.
Yeah, he wasn't running at 33 RPMs, man.
No.
He was running at a much lower speed. Fucking funny, man. In that little meth shack next to Rocker's Bandhouse. the meth shack, they had the refrigerator when they had all the prices on the wall.
Window. You walked up to the outside window, placed your order.
Yeah.
They were ahead of their time, man.
They were ahead of their time. They were ahead of time. Living on that bus. Living on the bus, man, in the parking lot of the Rockers parking lot.
Right. I remember with Malachi, instead of staying in the Rockers Bandhouse, was so disgusting. I never stayed in there. I was stayed in the bus, man. Getting up in the morning in the summertime, and there'd be 10 or 12 flies in this bus every morning. We would grab the Aquanet and a Bic lighter and burn them out of the air. It was easier than trying to get them with a fly swatter. Just burn the wings off them with the Aquanet. Time to get up, man.
And the thing too that's missing from that equation is that you say a dozen flies. Those flies were big. they were like the little house flies. They were big West Virginia flies cruising around.
Well, they'd be waking you up. They'd be landing on you, waking you up. You had to burn them out, burn their wings off.
Yeah, because we couldn't wait to get up and sit up and stare at each other in our hopeless situations. You know,
I think I may have pioneered that method too. You know that? I mean, I've never seen that used since the Aquanet. I came up with that.
the burning them out of the air. Yeah,
I
that was
came up with eating the ramen noodles without any water too. To see how could, when you're broke, what are you gonna do?
Rob. You and I definitely invented eating taster's choice. And we had no water to wash it down with, to wash down that taster's choice. Just crunching on freeze dried coffee, man.
I remember some freeze-dried coffee. It was a delicacy. I remember, I would have the money envelope and I'd walk off to go call Angela somewhere and talk to her and leave everybody starving back at some hotel room somewhere. I'd go buy a pack of pecan sandies and a quart of milk, sit down on the curb and call my girlfriend and tell
Get
her
some
how bad
calories.
This thing sucked,
Get some calories.
Oh man.
Fucking funny, man. It's hard to believe, but the bandhouse at Rockers was not the worst place that we stayed. When we were in my band Malachi, we used to stay at a place in Hinesville, Georgia, and the club was called the Oasis, and they had a band trailer at a trailer park called the Happy Acres or Happy Trail trailer park. And it was a trailer way back by the train tracks. And we used to see these trains come through like 50, 60 miles an hour, just whizzing through there. I mean, my singer and I got off the bus together the first time, and the vortex almost pulled us in. So we get there, and we had stopped by the club and get the keys to the place, and then we go there, and the last band had checked out on early Sunday morning, and now for us this was Thursday, and we're loading in. So it's been 4 days since someone's been there, and we opened the door, and the smell was just so overpowering because the last band that was there, what they did is they defecated down all the heating vents, and then they urinated on these pot pies. And they put them in the oven at 350 degrees, and they left it there for 4 days, which made a pretty angry funk in the air. It was its own climate weather system in there. It was beyond unruly, and that's not the only reason why I didn't want to stay there. Another reason is someone had chalked out on the rear bedroom the Buster D. Body Crab Memorial Speedway. So I'm sure that a body crab incident was going to happen using those towels that had never been washed. So I wasn't staying in there. I stayed outside in the bus. We did make bathtub suicide in that bathtub, though, with grain alcohol and Hawaiian punch. And I think for the most part, everyone survived that. One of the stupidest things we did is we tried to tip it over with about 50 people inside of it, rocking it left to right. Horrible idea. We did it anyways, and we had some multiple incidents there, and I'm sure that Mr. Helly remembers some other ones that I don't, that are even worse. Man.
Angela was bringing up Hinesville. Remember the piss pot pies?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was hot out that day. Whew. Things have been in there a couple days.
Yeah, that baked for a couple days before we got there.
Yeah, that was in the period where the bus starter was already bad, and we were starting the bus in the sand all the time.
Yeah, it was the Happy Camper Trailer Park. There's definitely been some rape and molestation there. there's not a lot of happy childhoods that came out of that place, man.
Wasn't
You
that the
know,
place that I didn't sleep inside that fucking place. I slept in the bus. I didn't sleep in there. Beasley slept in there.
I think I slept in the bus too.
I didn't
I don't.
sleep in
I don't
that place,
remember
man. It was
sleeping in there.
too disgusting.
It was too disgusting.
There were too many bugs.
Yeah, the Buster the Body Crab Memorial Speedway.
I remember making a big vat of potato soup. That was the meal for the day in there.
Yeah. And you remember the day that Barry disappeared?
I don't remember him disappearing. I do remember him. Yeah, he disappeared. He got wasted, right? He drank a bunch of tequila.
No, he was on that he jumped on that train that was moving. He jumped onto a moving train and he was walking on the train but not going anywhere from our perspective, and then the train started going faster and faster, and he started like running jump to the next one. Me and Beasley are watching and we're laughing at him, okay, because that was it. Me and Beasley in the first place, like, dared him, hey, I bet you can't climb on that train. Well, it's moving. And he got up there, and then these hillbilly kids on the other side of the track started throwing rocks at him. So these rocks are just dinging him off. Ding, ding, bouncing off him, and the train's going faster and faster. He's running, jump, jump. One of those rocks just clocked him. Pow! He hit the deck, disappeared to the horizon.
I remember him being real wasted. I think I came outside after all this incident, and he could only step like one little baby step, like six inches every 3 minutes. Like, he was locked down really bad, man. He was really in a bad way,
He
probably
was.
only weighed like 130 pounds.
That
full
was
of moonshine.
After Beasley and I peed on him when we dragged him off the train tracks. Big D from Bad Manners came in the trailer and said, hey, you gotta go get your boys out, passed out on the train tracks. We go out there to drag him, and Beasley doesn't even want to do it because we got to leave him here. It's too funny. We saw that train coming down the tracks. Beasley wants to go back inside for his sunglasses. No compassion for this man at all, who's literally passed out drunk on the train tracks, man. And yeah, it's true. We peed all over him, and he was covered in piss. It was a shitty thing to do to that kid, but we did that.
Oh, he deserved every bit of it.
In a way.
He really did. Devil worshiping little weirdo. He had his little book, his little Satan Bible.
He did have his Satan Bible.
Maybe if he wasn't a devil worshiper, he wouldn't have gotten pissed on.
Yeah, well, the thing about the Malachi organization is we didn't discriminate based on religion. So we welcomed him. And we're not even sure what he did.
Devil worshippers, queers, all kinds of,
Whatever you got, jump on in. We're not going to notice your weirdness. It's not going to stand out.
Unless you're so dumb that you step in your own poop, track it on the bus. Then,
yeah, that was frowned upon. Very much frowned upon. Oh my God, Rob, that is so damn funny.